So I'm gonna be honest with you guys, usually I like to do like bigger, high quality production stuff. I'm very short on time, but this is a video that a lot of you guys really wanted to see here. The Fold 6 versus the S24 Ultra. So although a lot of the big fancy production stuff is kind of gonna be stripped away for this video, bear with me here. What you guys are going to be getting still, as always with all of my videos, is a concise, transparent, and honest review about these two devices. Now right away, I think that you and I on the opposite ends of this camera here, we can still probably agree that globally speaking, these are like some of the best that Android has to offer, right? If I'm being completely honest, using both of these for extended periods of time, having my SIM card in both of these to use as my daily driver on a day-to-day basis for not only this YouTube thing, but also for my day work as a therapist. These both are exceptionally complementary in a lot of different ways, and it's the reason that on average, I do tend to side with Android devices over iPhones. Not because iPhones are not capable, not good devices, but on a day-to-day basis, these fulfill more of what it is that I personally need. I think right out of the gate, just to set a baseline for you guys, both of these phones are pretty comparably the same and good in the same exact ways, right? Looking at like phone call quality, haptics, gaming is great on both of these. S Pen usage is very smooth and precise on both of these. Front displays on both are exceptional and crisp. Samsung DeX is just as good on both of these. Quick share is excellent on both of these, transferring files between each other. My Galaxy Tab S9 Ultra. And Galaxy AI, I would say things process maybe like slightly faster here on the Fold 6, but on average, on a day-to-day basis, it's about the same. So I would say like in 80% of circumstances that you're picking up either of these phones for, they're both comparably just as good, no matter what it is that you're doing really. Now there are a couple of things that do set these things apart that aren't going to be drastic, but depending on who you are and what you need out of your phone on a day-to-day basis, are going to make a sizable difference. Now for me personally, full transparency, the Fold 6 on a day-to-day basis just covers a large smorgasbord of what I personally want and need out of a phone, right? And if you watch my most recent video, is actually a deep dive review about the Fold 6, pretty comprehensive about everything that this does for me on a day-to-day basis that make this my daily driver, even when I was using an S24 Ultra, the iPhone 15 Pro Max, 23 Ultra, Pixel devices. This does a lot for me. All right, so if you ask me, I think that in very simple terms, the way that I break these down of which one you'd want to go with depending on your lifestyle is that the Galaxy S24 Ultra is better in terms of the charging speeds, right? You're looking at 45 watt charging here versus 25 watt charging. And honestly, realistically, that almost becomes null because the battery life on the S24 Ultra, battery life wise, is significantly better, hands down, to the point where you probably aren't even going to need a charge on an average day. This is probably going to make it through most of your day. If you do need a charge, it's not by much. Where this, absolutely at least once per day, you're going to need a charge. And when you do charge it, you're getting 25 watt charging. It's starting to drizzle, but I do not have a lot of time, so we're gonna see if we can just get through this for full-on downpour. So you're only getting 25 watt charging here, and you're going to need to charge this at least once per day, which for me, looking at this, right, getting around like 6.5 to almost 7 hours worth of screen on time, depending on the day. Not a big deal breaker for me personally, because I have a charger available to me at most times of the day. But hands down, if I'm going out and I know I'm not gonna have a charger available, this is the one that I would feel absolutely more comfortable with. The second thing being the cameras. So I've actually been waiting for a sunny day here to actually record this section. We've been getting rain the last week and some change, so getting something sunny to show you guys a lot of like the difference in terms of brightness and highlights is just not gonna happen right now. What I can say though is that on a day-to-day basis, the highlights on both of these phones are okay, but the phone struggles a little bit when you're going from like a darker segment to a very bright segment. And a way to ail that is really to just kind of like tap on your face and adjust the slider manually. It would be nice with the AI technology that's built into these phones if it could kind of handle that for you independently of you having to do anything like that. And you guys can see for yourself that the S24 Ultra definitely has more detail than the Fold 6. For me, that's not a big difference on a day-to-day basis personally, but if you're someone that loves taking selfies, the 24 Ultra is definitely the way you're going to want to go. Flat out, not having zoom capabilities on a phone that costs this much is a little bit of a bummer. And the Z Fold 6, I would say, is still a really good, competent, solid, straight up shooter, right? If you're just pointing at something, trying to take a picture and see like that 50 megapixel mode, you're definitely getting really good pictures on this, on top of also getting the 8K 30 video, which is just as good here. as on the 24 Ultra in my experience. As solid a camera system as this is, there are absolutely times, if I'm being honest, that I do wish I had that exceptional zoom capability that I have here on the 24 Ultra. You just can't beat it. It's the best zoom camera on the market right now. Video looks really good on here. Nighttime pictures are excellent. Having the 200 megapixel photos on this, man, you can take like big landscape pictures, and the detail retention you're getting out of this when you zoom into those pictures looks amazing. Looks amazing flat out. You're just not getting that over here on the Z Fold 6. Now you are getting S Pen on both of these, and I would say that the S24 Ultra is better in terms of convenience because it's built into the body. But on a day-to-day basis, in terms of like multitasking and productivity things, having the tablet form factor on this in conjunction with the S Pen, in my personal opinion, is just flat out a much better experience. I think I remember someone in the comment section one time saying that like having the solid glass here feels better for them when writing than like the softer touch screen that you're sort of getting here. Me personally, I think it feels just as excellent here on the Z Fold 6. It really is just a matter of form factor, what you prefer. And for me, hands down, I prefer it over here on the Z Fold 6, especially now because the crease on the Z Fold 6 is significantly better than on the Z Fold 5, where not only is the crease not as wide, it's also not as deep as on the Z Fold 5. And so when you're writing across that middle portion of the screen, a lot of the time, it really feels like you're writing on a flat surface, which is really nice, more drops coming down. The last thing being multitasking. It is great here on the S24 Ultra. Anytime I need like dual windows and different bubble windows and stuff on here, it's excellent. Something that you're getting here on the 24 Ultra that you're not getting on, say, like an iPhone 15 Pro Max. But on a day-to-day basis for me, having the tablet form factor flat out is amazing. And at least for me, the extra screen real estate is also much nicer for creating thumbnails for here on the channel. Also nicer for using as an external monitor for my camera. I also love it a lot more for gaming and also multimedia consumption, but those are all personal endeavors, but there's a lot of reasons to love this form factor. If you guys have been here before, you know I've been talking a lot about how my fiance and I are currently looking at homes and wedding venues. Flat out, no real way to sugarcoat it. The multitasking experience, if I'm having like an Excel spreadsheet and docs and having like Chrome open and say like a texting bubble open, is significantly better on here because of the additional screen real estate than on the 24 Ultra. And it's not because this is bad, it's just the fact of having more on here, and the software is just as smooth, even with all of those windows. And then over here, with just the two primary windows, it's gonna be a matter of opinion, of course. On a day-to-day basis, I definitely prefer it over here. And even with my day job as a clinical therapist, we've actually moved a lot of our online systems to more portable format, so now it's something I can access on my phone. And because of the additional form factor, like I can have my clientele sign off on the Fold 6 as a signing pad now for sessions. And it's just nicer for them having the additional screen real estate to sign off on paperwork on this than on a traditional slab phone. And again, for a lot of people, it's not gonna make a big difference. And I think the last thing really would be durability. I'm sure a lot of you guys would hedge your bets that this is the more durable device, less moving parts, one solid frame. And this is definitely super durable. I've had no problems with this in terms of chipping, scuffing, scratching, or anything like that. What I can say though, is like the Z Fold 5 was very durable. I had taken that on multiple trips to the beach with absolutely no problems in terms of like sand getting inside of the hinge, the frame scratching, breaking the, and I actually just came from a beach day with my family and Maria over the weekend. Took this to the beach, same thing, no concerns, and because it's nice and flush, no problem with sand getting inside of the crease, getting inside of the screen and damaging it in that way. So durability in that way, as far as I'm concerned, not a problem. And I think that about covers everything I think that you guys practically would care about on a day-to-day basis. If you're looking to make the decision between these two devices, they're great in basically every conceivable way, but for the reasons that I mentioned before, right? Looking at the cameras, I think primarily are going to make the biggest difference for the most people on the S24 Ultra, which they are exceptional specifically for like the telephoto zoom. On a day-to-day basis, if I'm being completely honest, I do miss having better zoom on the Fold 6, but I'm not in those scenarios enough where it makes that big a difference for me specifically. More common, I find myself wanting that additional screen real estate. And so for me, as a personal consumer, that's what makes the biggest difference. Now that being said, I am human, and so I probably missed a couple of things you guys are wondering about. If that's the case, please let me know in the comment section down below. I'll try to get to as many of those as I possibly can. Thank you guys so much again for stopping by and hanging out. I wish you a fantastic remainder of your day, afternoon, or night, depending on the time it is you are watching this. And as always, peace, love, adios, bye guys, and have a great day.